Suki Hotu, and a good morning to all of you. We are indeed very happy and thankful for your presence here in Kinrara Metta Buddhist Society. Sadhu to all of you. I seek your understanding and cooperation to switch off your handphone or put it in flight mode from now till the end of the Dhamma talk. And also to use the washroom at level 2 and level 3 only when the talk is in progress. Thank you. Allow me to give a short introduction on today's speaker. Brother Huat Chye is a graduate from UPM with an education degree and a master degree in Socio-Psychology from University Malaya. He is the partner and principal of consultant of THC Consulting Sdn Bhd, a Malaysian-based organisation. Prior to this, he has worked as general manager of organisational development for a large local conglomerate in Malaysia and also as the senior vice president of human resources for Great Eastern Life. He has been active in Buddhist cycle for many years since his secondary days. Previously, Brother Huat Chye served 2 terms as a committee member of Buddhist Missionary Society of Malaysia, and he was the founding president of KMBS Puchong. He actively gives Dhamma talk and leadership training to various Buddhist societies and colleges and universities, temples, and Buddhist center. He is also a member of the Music Authors. He has also written and produced 3 Chinese Buddhist hymns albums in 1998, Yi Zhan Deng, is it? Yi Zhan Deng, something like that, okay? 1992, Hui Deng, and 1994, Deng, is it? Deng, yeah. 1988, okay. At present, Brother Huat Chye is officially the advisor of KMBS, Bodhi Buddhist Group, and Buddhist Business Network. He is also the founder of Great Leadership Awekening with Dhamma program, also known as GLAD, where he trains Buddhist leaders. We are pleased to organize a series on a specific theme for the month of January to March 2018. Our theme for Dhamma sharing is happiness. Today, Brother Huat Chye share with us on the topic spiritual friendship. I would like to invite Brother Huat Chye to commence the talk. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
A very good morning to all of you, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. I see all ready for New Year already. How many of you have not met me, seen me before? It's okay, put up your hand. Only 1, 2, 2. Okay, my name is Huat Chye. Hokkien means prosperity. These days, when you see people's name got Hok, got Huat, they belong to a certain generation. Young children today don't get such name. You give them this name, they curse you for life. Huh? But those who are born in the 50s, 60s, even 70s, probably they get this kind of name, even earlier than that, 40s, because I was born in the 50s, so we don't have much. In fact, we survive from day to day. And some days, I remember when I was young, we also skipped some meals because we don't have money. I guess because of that, my dad gave me the name Huat Chye. Hopefully, this young boy at that time can become prosperous. And jokingly, I always say my surname is Tan in Hokkien, means I have to wait. Yeah. So interesting, right? When you give name, you better check every left, right, up, down, making sure nothing of that sort. Anyway, I'm glad to be here this morning to share a little bit of what I know about spiritual friendship. I think today is an important topic. I'm going to describe or explain what actually is Kalyana Mitra, because because we've been using it very loosely every other day. Kalyana Mitra. But we actually don't understand what it means like Kalyana Mitra. And again, I also want to touch on the friendship. Associating with friends, especially in today's society. The Buddha has given us some advice what to do and how to recognize those who are friends, those who are not friends. You have to be very careful about that. So today I'm going to take you through that journey, share some story with you, and if you have any questions, then maybe towards the tail end of the talk itself, you can ask me questions. Can see the screen is a bit small. Okay, very small. Family used to be very closely knitted. They stay together, they care for each other. I mean, if you look at, again, very small, this is called Tulou. In China, they have this, if you go to Fujian province, you get this kind of round circle buildings with maybe hundreds of occupants and things like that. And people used to stay together in the good old days where societies are more closely knitted, families closely knitted. In fact, you got your Tai Sok, Yi Sok, Sam Sok, all stay around the whole village or whole place. That was the society we had. And people care for each other. People depend on each other. So when they plow in agriculture, the kind of society, whatever they have, they share with each other. I still remember when I was young, we used to cook food and then we would share with our neighbors. Today we don't do that anymore, right? We're very scared whether, the other party will criticize or comment and say, I don't know what this neighbor is up to and things like that. But those days we don't have such a thought. It's just very natural. We cook something, we always remember we must cook something extra so that we can give to this one, whatever people around us. How many of you still do this? Maybe you still do this to some of your good friends or your relatives that you cook extra, then you make a special effort to travel all the way there and give it to them. If you do that, very good, continue to do that. But society today has lost that touch. Okay? Now, family institution is slowly disintegrating, decentralized, not just business decentralized, family also decentralized, and dysfunctional. These three words are very reflective of what we're going through today because we're in a digital world, we live in a social media influence. Society today is not as closely knitted, especially family, as before. Disintegrated, we see today when children grow up, and then want to be in Singapore, want to be in Australia, want to be in America, and sometimes we see parents, they allow their children go overseas studies because they think politically here is not a good place. They want the children to have better future. So they send their children overseas. And then that was when they were 30s, 40s. When they're 50s, 60s, their thoughts may have changed. I'm old, where are my children? But the children is in America, they cannot come back. They only can come back once in a year. And sometimes they are sick, nobody take care of them. So you got all these issues. Family is disintegrating. Yeah? And even if they are not disintegrating, today children, when they grow up, they have their own family, they don't stay with you anymore. If the son wants to stay, the daughter-in-law says, no, don't stay. I want to stay outside. So also you got issues that I'm sure you have heard many. So many of them try to stay as close as possible to their parents as possible. Some of them try to stay as far away as possible from the parents, depending how the relationship comes out. So because of that, you notice today, family is disintegrating. And not only that, among our relatives, we don't recognize them anymore. If you go back to Chinese New Year this time round, that one is my cousin's son's children. Do you think your cousin's son's children will recognize you as part of the family? They won't. In due time, they all have their own world. And you will come across each other in life, but you don't know actually you are related. That's a reality we are in today. Agree? Yeah? It's disintegrating. It is a trend which is moving. It's hard to push that trend back. It's because of the mobility of people today. Those days, people are not mobile. They stay in the same province, village, they depend on each other. But today, people are so mobile. Not only in Malaysia, we can go anywhere in the world. It's so mobile. Even if you don't mobile, because of the social media, internet, and connectivity, people can stay anywhere and they still can connect it. So today, you can have your son in Australia, you just use whatever that you can FaceTime or whatever that you want to use, you can get connected. But those are virtual. Those are not real, because there's no, real human face-to-face interaction. It's just virtual. But that's how we get connected with each other. So this is very disintegrating, very decentralized. We don't stay together anymore. We are all, I'm sure those of you are brothers and sisters, your brother is somewhere else, your sister is somewhere else. So we are very decentralized. Those days, there used to be a home where we go back to. Hokkien, we say, "Chó Kong Ye Chu," belongs to your ancestor. Today, we don't have any ancestors' home anymore. And normally, the most eldest son will be the point of reference, normally, where they all go back for New Year, if you still have that. But give another 1 or 2 generations, there'll be no kampung to go back to. Honestly, today we still go back to our own hometown because there's still ancestors' home, or home belongs to your parents. But give another 10, 20, or maybe 30 years, all these are gone. People just celebrate New Year in its own place. And if the best, you just go and visit your uncles or somebody nearby. You don't do that anymore. So it's very decentralized and very dysfunctional. In today's society, sometimes people stay in the same home, they don't talk to each other. And especially with the internet and social media, which is so, we see that all the time in advertisement, and the reunion dinner, everybody is looking at their home phones. And today when you go to most of the tables in the dinner, if you go to any restaurant, you see people are busy with their own thing. To a point, people do not know how to talk to each other. And family slowly is, the connectivity is breaking up. It becomes dysfunctional. And sometimes they don't even know each other, what's happening on the other side. So with all this happening, people are a lot more on their own. And then in the good old days, we hear this is 在家靠父母，出外靠朋友. And a lot of time, we don't depend on our parents anymore, most of us in today's society. We also don't depend on our siblings and brothers and sisters anymore. In fact, we spend more time with people outside than our own family people. Right? Those of you who are working 8 to 10 hours, you are in office. You hardly spend time with your parents nor your siblings. That's what we do. So this Chinese simple saying that when you are outside, you have to depend on friends, which is becoming more and more true in our society today. Because family institution is decentralized, disintegrating, and dysfunctional. And I hope you can read this. Dhammapada 204, the Buddha has mentioned, forget about the other verses, I want to emphasize here. The Buddha says, help is the most precious gain, contentment is the greatest wealth. And the Buddha says in the 3rd verse in 204, Dhammapada, a trustworthy person or friend is the best kinsman. Means sometimes the Buddha realized 2,600 years ago, a good friend that you can trust is your best relative. Very strange. 2,600 years ago, the Buddha had already foreseen this will happen in our human race, that we may have to trust people that we have to trust outside our family. And these people sometimes are better than your own family members. I'm sure some of you agree. I have talked to my own brother, talk to my, somebody, out hit. But I got friends, sometimes when I talk to them, they understand me better. That's what happened in our society today. So some of these friends that you interact with, they can be like your family members. In fact, in hard times, sometimes they come and support you more than your own family members. And that's true, especially if your family is very disintegrated and dysfunctional. You need friends. And the Buddha has emphasized that a trustworthy person, a friend, is the best kinsman, is the best relative that you can have. So far, are you with me? All right. Now, we know no man is an island. Knowing who we should interact with is very important. In today's society, it's all about guanxi. It's all about relationship. It's about who we connect with outside. Whether you're doing business, you're running your own show, or you're working for people, you can't run away from that. So no man is an island. And that's the same. In fact, the Buddha also realized, even though he was an enlightened being, he shouldn't be an island to himself. The Buddha realized it's important for him to connect to every level of the people in the society, from those who are very poor and unfortunate to the kings in his time. He connected with them all the way. It was because of his connection, networking that he does. He got a lot of support during his time. Yeah? He got rich men like Anathapindika, who basically gave him the whole piece of land to build the monastery, the Jetavana monastery and all these places. That's because of his networking. So even in Buddha's time, he never says you should not network and connect with friends and people outside. You should do that. Now, the internet and digital world have made human interaction easier, but because of this social networking that we're doing, it gets a little bit more complicated. When we connect with somebody over the other side, you're not sure whether he's the real person in the first place. Sometimes you look at it, it's a women's name happen to be a man. Sometimes you look at it, wow, the face looks so young. Actually, it's a 50, 60 years old person, not as young as 20 over years old. Probably the picture is 30 years ago picture. We do not know. That's the reality we're in. It gets a little bit more complex and complicated. Who to trust? As we interact with people and meet up with many friends outside, who to trust? Who shall we trust? How much shall we trust that person? And who to depend on? And then there are questions, who to collaborate? Who can we really work with? Are you sure we can work with him? He say yes all the time. Is it really yes? Some people can say yes all the time. But when the right time comes, they are not there. So who shall we collaborate? How do we differentiate whether we can trust this person from the other person? These are some of the challenges we face as we live our life today because of the society we're in. All right? Now, friendship can mean different things to different people. True friendship is when someone knows you better than yourself. Now, this is something for you to think about. Sometimes a true friend knows you better than yourself. They look at you, they know which are your blind spot, which are your weakness. You don't even know you have it sometimes. A true friend sometimes will come around and says, hey, you don't do that. You do like that, your family will be against you. Why do you do that? Because sometimes we do it, we are not aware what we're doing. But our friend who is a third party seeing from afar, they can know, you should not do that. So they know you better than theirs. And they take a position in your best interest in crisis. A good friends always think about your best interest. And friendship goes beyond just sharing time together, and it's long-lasting. Today we have this word called best friend forever. Are you sure you're really best friend forever? Wait till hard time comes and see whether he comes around or not. If he comes around, yes, he's your best friend. But if hard time comes, they are not around. All these BFF and all these, they are just cliche. Everybody is talking about that today. Now, friendships are developed through long-testing trust and right effort from Buddhist perspective. So we want to interact with people. How we build friendship with each other is about long time. It's about putting effort. This right effort is very important for us to build friendship with people. Chinese, I've explained this before to some of you. Chinese Buddhism talks about yuan, yan, and this is karmic connection. And yan is because two persons in the distant past have some interaction before, therefore they come together again and they meet. When they meet, this is called yuan. But yuan alone cannot make the relationship stay long. You must have one more ingredient called fen, which is the volume, the amount. So how big is this yuan fen also depend on how much effort you put in. And when husband and wife married, of course they're married, they're called husband and wife. Anyway, when they're married, it's because of yuan they come together. Maybe they happen to work in the same office, Jing Cui Lou Tai, Chinese say, you see each other every day, you think she's the most beautiful, she thinks you're the most handsome, and you get to know each other, and you get married. But that's the yan, 有缘相见. But this yan, this marriage, whether can survive or not, depends a lot on the fen. The fen depends a lot on right effort. How much the husband try hard enough, how much the wife try hard enough to make sure this relationship stays. That's called 缘分. So sometimes when they don't make enough effort, the wife is trying very hard, the husband is not trying. The husband is trying very hard, the wife is not trying sometimes. Or sometimes both also give up not trying. And you find that this yuan will be gone. And maybe they're together, married for 10 years, and then they part. This one in Mandarin we call it yuan qian, very shallow, not deep enough. So the relationship doesn't last that long. Same with friendship. Some friends we meet and we were together for that short few months, After that, you don't know where he goes and you also don't know where to locate him. There are some people like that, We only spend that much time with that person. That yuan is just that. And because you never contact each other, never call each other, never get together, have lunch together, dinner together, visit a home, or do something together, you find that relationship, suddenly, he's no more my friend anymore. He's like a stranger to me. And this happened also among your school friends, among your ex-colleagues, First few months after leaving the company, still catch up for lunch and dinner lah. After that, as the time goes by, you don't make effort, she don't make effort, then you find that you are far apart. That's reality. All right? So it needs a lot of right effort because of that. So yuan is very important. Today, you and I meet here today is also yuan fen. So you must make an effort to come to KMBS more often. Of course, it doesn't mean that you will see me, but we will see each other at some point in time. For this relationship to continue, and some of us here, we have been together since the beginning of KMBS. This place is actually a place for san yan. It's a place where the coming energy is positive. There's also this thing called yuan, negative karmic connection, and that's very bad. Some people, when they cannot stay together, they still do a lot of negative things to each other. It becomes yuan, and that one is very, very damaging to their long-term relationship. So we'll talk about that later. All right. Now, good friend is a blessing according to Buddhism. If you have a good friend, it's a blessing. But the challenge for us, how to differentiate who is a good friend, who is not a good friend. Because this is what in Mangala Sutta the Buddha says, associate with the wise, associate not with the foolish. That means when you go out there, you mix with people, you have to be very careful. Who is a wise guy that you should stay close to? Who is not a so wise guy, in fact, no, only not wise, foolish, sometimes put you into trouble, that you should avoid. And the Buddha says, if you can do this, this is the highest blessings in your life. So when you meet somebody who keeps giving you a lot of good things and make your life better, it's a blessing. When you keep meeting people who gives you a lot of problems and bring you down, it's a curse. So you have to be very careful who do you mix with. That's why sometimes even people say marriage is either a blessing or a curse. It depends who you married with. Sometimes you married somebody, wow, the stars are all good everywhere. You find that you fly. And then you marry somebody, 种种的烦恼问题 will appear. That's bad. So again, we always tell people when you want to have any relationship with anybody, either business, marriage, or any other make sure you open your eyes and see clearly. The problem with a lot of people about marriage is before they get married, they always like to close their eyes. 爱情是盲目的嘛. Marriage is, love is blind ma. So when they get married already, after they married for a while, they open one eyes. Why last time you're not like that, now you're like this? Then when they married, for many years, they open both eyes. That's where they cannot tolerate each other. That's what happened. We should do the reverse. Before you get married, open your eyes, both eyes, wide and clearly. Look at them. And after married for some time, close one eye. Certain things. And after many, many years, close both eyes. Then your relationship will stay longer. Unfortunately, we do the other way around, So we are in trouble. So it's like that. It's like that. So we have to be very careful about relationship. I mean, it could be friends, could be anybody. But when you interact with another party outside of you, this is what you need to do. So if those of you got children, please pass this message to them. When they get to know somebody, open both eyes, see clearly, is this really the guy you want? Is this really the man you want? Or is this really the girl you want? After marriage, already teach them sometimes certain things. Close one eyes. It's okay. It's not a big issue. Let it go. When you grow older, long in the relationship, it's okay to close both eyes. Sometimes you do. It's okay. You want to do whatever you do, as long as you're happy, go ahead. Anyway, are you with me? So, friends, even spouse can be our friend. Your spouse can be your friend. Your colleagues can be your friend. Technically, they are your colleague. But over the years, when you work with some people in the office, they become your friend. So, relationship with spouse is the same. Some spouse are like friend to us. Some spouse are like enemy to us. So we have to be careful about that. Now, I want to touch this topic because a lot of time we use the word Kalyana Mitra very loosely. Actually, when the Buddha talked about Kalyana Mitra, he was referring to spiritual friends. Of course, the Buddha was giving this advice to a lot of those of his followers who were practicing, so that they also, even among the spiritual path, there are people who also can mislead you. Some spiritual people will bring you to hell and ask you to do stupid things. Some spiritual people also will bring you to heaven to achieve great height. So even in the spiritual path, same as your business path, your career path, whatever, you get good and bad people. You have to differentiate that. Right? Okay, now the word Kalyana Mitra means, or Kalyana Mitta in Pali, this is Sanskrit, this is Pali, it means spiritual friend. Mitta or Mitra means friend. Kalyana is spiritual. So it's a spiritual friend. Now, this friend can be a spiritual teacher that guides you on the path. So if you are trying to be a better person, to improve yourself, you need a mentor, a teacher who is like a friend who cares for you, who guides you and brings you along. That is one. Or peers. All of you are peers here that travel the path along with you. So people who come to KMBS, who actively involved here, you support each other, you help each other, not just to do work, but in times of difficulties, in times you need 2 cents worth of advice, you get peers who basically walk along that path with you. That is also another Kalyana Mitra. So our hope is in KMBS, you don't just come here and put your children in a Sunday school. You also come and learn. Along the way, as you learn, you get to know newer people here. And sometimes they can help you spiritually, sometimes they can help you worldly things. They know where to get things that you don't know where to get. They know to refer you to somebody which you do not know where to refer to. When you have difficulties in doing something, they can share with you their experience. So these are all your spiritual friends in a context. If you look at it, that's how it is explained. Now, the Sangha, community of people who follows the Buddha's teaching. Now this word Sangha, again, in our context today, is very narrowly defined as monk. But actually, from the Buddhist context, the word Sangha, they call the fourfold Sangha. There are 4. The monks, which is male, the nun, which is female, the upasaka, which is male, practicing lay people like you and me. If you are practicing, you're observing precepts, you are called upasaka, and the upasikas. These 4, originally during the Buddha's time, they are called the Sangha. But today, we have narrowly put down the Sangha into the monks and the nuns alone, but which is not correct. The actual meaning of Sangha is anybody, whether you are monastic or not monastic, but you observe precepts, you practice, you are part of the Sangha. You could be a upasaka, a lay person who practices. So the Sangha would then be comprised of spiritual friends supporting each other to work towards awakening. And that's what a spiritual friend is. Now, Buddhist concept of spiritual friendship within the Buddhist community life applicable to monastic and householder. That's why when we talk about Sangha, it has to be both the monks and nuns, as well as upasaka and upasikas. Yeah? So these days we don't use this word anymore. During the time when I first came to know Buddhism, we used the word upasaka, so they call me upasaka Tan Huat Chye. But today, I think it's very long. People don't like to call it. It's a little bit too long. They don't want to call it. They call it brother, or they call it sister. But the brother and sister is a little bit loose, because anybody you can call brother. Even those mat rempit can call each other brother. So that brother meaning has a little bit different. Okay, one involved in such a relationship, the Kalyan Mitra, normally they are good friend, virtuous, noble, and admirable. Admirable means that friend that you call Kalyana Mitra is somebody that you look up to. It's like in Indonesia we call it idola, your idol. Wow. I want to be his friend because he has something that I look up to, that I have to learn from him. And that's admirable. So if you know somebody, he's nothing for you to admire, I don't think you should regard that person as a friend. It's just another acquaintance that you meet along the way. True friends they are good, they are virtuous, means they at least have some moral standard. They can be Christian, doesn't matter. They became Muslim. You can have your good friends. You can even have a Kalyana Mitra who is a Muslim, who is a Christian. In Buddhist context, it doesn't restrict to Buddhism alone. As long as certain fundamental goodness is in that person, kindness in that person, and you have something to learn from, that could be your Kalyana Mitra also. Of course, in a more strict sense, we look at it from a Buddhist community, but your Kalyana Mitra can come from anywhere. What happened tomorrow if there's no more Buddhism? Does it mean that you don't have any Kalyana Mitra? No. You can, and you go to a country there's no Buddhist, doesn't mean you cannot have Kalyana Mitra? No. You can still have your Kalyana Mitra as long as whoever in that country, doesn't matter what religion they practice, but they are good men, they are virtuous, they are noble, and there's something for you to learn and become a better person. That is your Kalyana Mitra. So it is not restricted to Buddhists. We have to be very clear about that. Otherwise, we only protect our own people. Anybody who's not a Buddhist, they are not our Kalyana Mitra. Then become very narrow. Some religion interpret that way, but Buddhism doesn't look at it that way. Anybody who add value to your life, he can be your Kalyana Mitra. Okay? So far, are you with me? Yeah. A little bit long. Okay. This one you can find in Digajanu Sutta. Let me quickly just read this. And what is meant by admirable friendship? Who are those admirable friendship? This is a case where a lay person in whatever town or village he may dwell, spend time with householder or householder's son, young and old. It means anybody, as long as laymen, who are advanced in virtue. So admirable people are those people who are advanced in virtue. 他有道德观念的。His character is well-mannered, well-cultured. These are virtuous people. So these are people that is called admirable friend. They consummate conviction. That means they really try to perfect conviction, faith. They have strong faith, whichever faith that they have. They have They perfect themselves in virtue, they perfect themselves in generosity, they perfect themselves in discernment. Discernment means they can tell between right or wrong. 他能够分清楚是非对和错. They can differentiate right or wrong, good and bad. If you have people like that, these are your admirable friend. They can tell you, hey, Huat Chye, don't do that. I think you do that, you bring a lot of unnecessary problem. It hurts the other party, it hurts your own family member. Why you want to do that? So he can tell the difference between this and that. And he sometimes can even advise you. These are your admirable friends. Not admirable friends are, it's same in the office context. Sometimes you don't like the boss. You everyday bitch about the boss. Correct, no? Bitching about the boss is a favorite pastime of people in the workplace. Talk about the boss, lousy boss. So then you got sometimes true, sometimes not true things. But you got a people who is so-called friend. When you bitch about the boss, which is not true, he say, yeah lah, the stupid boss, they add on some more. And that one is not real friend. Real friend, he says, hey, you cannot talk like that. Yes, he's not very kind. But sometimes this is what he does. I think we should be fair to him. Now, this is a person who can discern between right or wrong. That's what it means. Huh? Okay. Just to give some explanation of this thing called Kalyana Mitra, so that you are clear about that word. Now, in the 1st century CE, there's an Arhan called Upatissa. And he identified the needs to find good friend. You see, we need to find good friend to help us to be excellent in our practice. And he says, what do you mean by Kalyana Mitra from the Buddhist context? It means somebody who understands the Buddha's teaching, the Tripitaka, who understand the law of karma, good and bad, evil and good, wholesomeness, who is a beneficent worldly knowledge, he has good worldly knowledge, and he understands the Four Noble Truths. So if you can find anybody who can teach you these few things, he is your Kalyana Mitra, who can teach you about law of karma. Do evil, you reap evil. Do good, you reap goodness. That's the law of karma. If you know worldly knowledge, whatever that can help them to become and work better, and also the Four Noble Truths. Now, again, I want to run through very quickly only this one. In Anguttara Nikaya, Upatissa, the same Arahant mentioned, these are the 7 qualities of admirable friend. Of course, he was referring more to the spiritual sense, but some of these are applicable to people like us today as we are laymen. He's lovable. They are not that type that not that. You look at him, you say, he's such a lovable person. We want to be close with. We want to be near with. He's estimable. He has a lot of esteem. Not just self-esteem, but that people look at him, this person of that caliber, of that position. He's venerable, means you look at him, you really feel like respecting him. So junjing, So a good friend, a spiritual friend is somebody that's venerable. Ability to counsel well, very interesting. So one of the criteria of being a good friend to your friend and a friend to you is you are able to counsel them. You need a little bit of counseling skill. To speak in a more general term, you need to be able to give him good advice. To make it more simple, you can give him your 2 cents worth. Today's modern. So that means if your friend comes to you, say, Huat Chye, I really lost today. I don't know what to do, You see, my situation is like that. My family is like that. My career is like that. So how? And then he will sit down and analyze with you and say, that is ability to counsel. Of course, you don't have to be a counselor, but at least you're able to give good advice, sound advice. Patient in listening. One of the hallmark of a good friend, he doesn't talk too much. So sometimes you go for friends, whatever gathering, the one that talk a lot may not be a good friend. A good friend is the one who sit down, who is patient enough to listen to your issues, your problems, your matters. He has that patience to listen. And after listening, he's able to give you 2 cents worth. Not the other person. Before you can finish your sentence, he give you a long lecture. You are so stupid. Why are you like that? That one may not be a good friend sometimes. So, ability to deliver deep discourse. Now, this one more for the monks. They're able to give good explanation, deep explanation of certain things, and not applying oneself to useless ends. These are the people who never spend time on unnecessary and useless things. So, these are the qualities of Kalyana Mitras. Now, why in our course of us, all of us, we got work to do, we got life to live, we got family to take care. Actually, sometimes it's important for you to sit back and ask yourself, who are really your Kalyana Mitras? I want you to go back and draw a stick man yourself and draw a big circle around the stick man. Then you can do this before New Year and before you make a New Year resolution, and you ask yourself, who are those people that I can really consider my Kalyana Mitra? Whether at home, at work, or in any society that you belong to, or any other places that you go to. Who are those few? And you write down their names in that big circle surrounding the matchstick, which is you. The stick man, which is you. Now, many of us, when you do this exercise, you notice that when I'm in trouble, when I do this, who can I depend on? Some of you may have many. Some of you may not have many. If you find you can't really pin down many names, what you need to do as the new year approaches, make a resolution this year, look for some people who can be your Kalyana Mitra. Put in right effort to get to know them, interact with them, so that in that big circle surrounding you, you have a few more names you can add on. It's very ironical in today's world. We interact with many people, but the real friends that we have, actually, sometimes you count with your fingers. You can't even finish the 5 fingers. 我们知心的朋友有多少? That's very important. So, now, the importance of Kalyana Mitra, the Buddha mentioned, this explaining the Kalyana Mitra again. Why we need Kalyana Mitra? Because it's very vital for spiritual growth. Of course, the Buddha was talking to the monks and those who are practicing, the Sangha members. You need to have Kalyana Mitra because it's important for your growth. Now, I take it in the context of lay people like you and I. It's important to have Kalyana Mitra because it's also important for your growth. Not just spiritual, your entire growth, your career growth, your business growth, your personal, development growth. It's important to have good friends. Okay? Now, for that, when 2 persons come together, when you talk about friends and friendship, it's mutual respect. So when a person starts to dominate the other person, that's not friend. A friend is they mutually respect each other. That's what the Buddha mentioned as part of Kalyana Mitra. They must respect. I may be a teacher, you may be a student learning from me, but I also respect you of your what? Now, the student respect them because of the teacher's knowledge. The teachers respect them because of the student's potential. Yeah. So in the sense that when there is respect, people don't look down on the other party. So when any of your friends look down on you, probably you can ask, you can put a question mark, is he really my good friend? Because a good friend don't run you down. Even you are down, they don't run you down further. That's what a friend is all about, because they understand actually you got potential, but your potential haven't come out yet. Actually, you can be happy, but I know you're not happy today. You can be happy. So he will show you how to be happy. Actually, you can be successful, but you're not successful today. Let me share some things with you that maybe help you to be more successful. They don't run you down, but they help you up. That's what it means by mutual respect. The student look at the teacher's knowledge and experience. That's where they can learn from. The teachers look at the students as the potential that they can grow. So when there is this good understanding, this friendship can be established. Okay? And when they do that, they always have a lot of constructive, when they interact with each other, they have a lot of constructive behavior. They say good things, they think good things about each other, and they do good things to each other. That's called constructive behaviors. This is exactly what 星云法师 says. 说好话，做好事，存好心. So a good friend practice these three simple things towards each other in mutual respect. Say good things, do good things, and think good thing about the other party. That means you always think about the goodness of that party that you deal with. You say good things to him, and you do good things to him, and mutually reciprocate. Okay, and when you can do that in the Kalyan Mitra, you start to build a constructive life. That means you start to build a good life. Both benefits, both life are enhanced and value added. And that can lead to personal happiness and enlightenment. Of course, the Buddha talked about enlightenment. So, from the Buddhist context, when the Buddha talked about Kalyana Mitra, as I said, I want to clarify this. The Buddha was giving to his group of practitioners, either monks or laymen, but when they help each other as friends in the journey, they all benefit at the end of the day. That's what he's trying to say. Now, the importance of spiritual friendship, I just want to emphasize it. One day, Ananda was having conversation with the Buddha, and Ananda made a comment. He says, this Kalyana Mitra, or friendship, spiritual friendship, is half of what? Of the holy life. Meaning, to have good friends in the practice is half of living a holy life. And the Buddha disagreed. The Buddha says, no. Having good friends in your practice is not half. It's actually the whole of the holy life. That means for you to be able to, of course the Buddha was talking about the monks, to be enlightened, all along you need good friends. It's not half of it. 是你修行过程的全部 is a full, 不是一部分罢了. So in other words, if we take into context of our present life, our householder's life, your success, your happiness in life, having good friends is not part of the equation. It is completely full part of the equation itself. That means for you to be successful and happy in life, in today's context, having good friends is a must. It's not an option or half of it. It's a must. So the Buddha was saying, for you to be enlightened, for you to be successful in your spiritual cultivation, having good friends in the spiritual world is a must. It's not half of it. So same thing, we need friends to be successful. That's what the Buddha was trying to say. Okay? So anybody, actually, in fact, if you study all the successful people, they are successful not because they are smart, they are clever, they are capable. It's because they have a lot of people that support them along the way. You agree? These people could be their friends, could be people that work with them but over the years become good friends. These people could be their Kuiren, Kwayan. And all these people actually make him successful. Therefore, the Buddha is trying to say, your road to success in spiritualism, and same with us, our road to success in our normal day-to-day life, we need to depend on people. It's wrong to think you do not depend on people. Because he says, the Buddha says, is actually the whole of the holy life. Alright, that's what it means. Now, Sangharashita, how many of you have heard of him? No. Okay, he used to be a monk, but I think he has disrobed. But Sangharashita, he founded the Friends of Western Buddhist Order, and later he founded the Triratna Society, which is a Buddhist society. And he says, spiritual friendship, we learn more about being good people than we would in isolation. That means he's trying to say, when you want to practice, you will learn more when you learn together than in isolation. That means you stay at home, go and practice Dhamma yourself. I heard a lot of time people say, I don't need to go temple to learn. But actually, sometimes having a place like this where people come together, that's where you learn faster. And he says sometimes we need to have at least one platonic friend with whom we can be intimate and completely frank. He says, we in our life, as we live our life, we need to have platonic, Plato? Plato is one of the philosopher in the good old days. We need to have a platonic friend who we can be intimate and completely frank with. That means we can share our feeling, our experience, and they can listen to us and maybe try to help us along the way. And these friends normally will help us to develop virtues of generosity, compassion, patience, and forgiveness. Okay? Now, I want to go to the part which the Buddha talks about. How do we differentiate good friends from bad friends? So, for this, the Buddha have given the guidelines in the story to Sigala about the 6 direction. How many of you have come across this sutra called Sigalawada Sutta? Okay, the more seasoned one perhaps have heard. You put out here means you're seasoned already. Now, in Chinese, it's called San Shen Jing Zi Jing. That's what the Chinese translation. In English or Pali is Sigalawada Sutta. Now, this sutta, the Buddha gave to a young boy called Sigala. Now, Sigala was a young boy. He's a bit naughty like our young boys today, playful. And his father always go to the monastery, to the place where the Buddha gave sermon and listen to like you come to Buddhist centers, you listen to Dhamma talk, you ask your children don't want to come. So this Sigala also like that. Didn't really want to go and see the Buddha, didn't want to know about the Dhamma, he was playful, so he didn't want to go. But the father was old, the father have listened to a lot of discourses by the Buddha. So the father was thinking of a way how to make this young boy to be able to meet the Buddha at least once, and then maybe he will like it, So before he passed away, he gave his will. He says, if I pass away, young boy, I want you every day to do this for me. In those days, when the old people pass away, they always have something to make sure the family continue the tradition. So he says, I want you to do this way. Every day you wake up, I want you to take a good bath, clean yourself. After you clean yourself, I want you to walk to that particular junction. In that particular junction, young Sigala, I want you to do this. After I'm dead, please do this. I want you to go to that junction after you clean yourself in the morning. I want you to pray to 6 directions. What are the 6 directions? North, south, east, west. What is that? What do you call that? Zenith and Nadir. Okay, the up and down, 6 directions. 6个方向. Okay, so it says, so this young boy, after the father passed away, did as his father do. I expected him to do. So he went there. After he cleaned himself, he started to pray six direction. Just like some of us are, your papa asks you to do, you don't know what. Every day, jong hyong, okay, so you just jong hyong. You also pray, don't know, in front and back and everything, but you don't know what you pray for. So this young boy was there praying to six direction. He did that for a while. Now, actually, this is all choreographed by his father already. The father knew that Buddha would pass by that road, that path, every day morning for alms round. And he knew one day he will meet the Buddha and the Buddha will talk to him. So he choreographed this and asked the young boy. So the young boy was doing that one day, one fine day, Buddha was passing by. And Buddha looked at the young man praying to six directions, north, south, east, west, zenith and nadir. And he prayed, don't know what he mumbled. So the Buddha went to him and says, young man, what are you doing? Then the young Sigalawat said, I'm praying to six directions. Why do you do that? Oh, my father asked me every morning must clean myself, come here to pray for prosperity, for good and things like that. And then the Buddha, now did the Buddha say stupid or not? No, the Buddha didn't say, young man, you're stupid, why you pray to six directions? No need one, actually one direction enough. The Buddha did not do that. The Buddha says, okay, very good young householder, It's good that you pray to six directions, but do you know what this six direction means? So the young man said, I don't know, my father asked me to do that. Then the Buddha says, okay, if you like, I will explain to you the six direction. When you pray to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west, what are you praying to? Okay, so the Buddha start to explain when you pray to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south, what are you praying to? The Buddha explained that. Now, we got no time to go through the six. I only go through one direction as the Buddha talk about friends. Interestingly, the Buddha says, when you pray to the east, what are you praying to? You're praying for the happiness and goodness of east. What is that? Anybody? The season one, please help. East. Parents and children. When you pray to the east, he was talking to Sigala, you remember your parents, the duties of parents and duties of children. And why he chose east, the Buddha was very clever, because east where the sun rises. That's where your life begins. So when you pray to the east, you remember your father, mother. You remember your role as a children. And this is where your life begins. He says, when you pray to the west, who does he refer to? Husband and wife. Because when you get married later, the wife or husband is to see to the sunset one. Right? This is how clever the Buddha used the various directions to explain what is the duty of husband towards wife, wife towards husband. They are all found in this sutta. So those of you who are interested, go and Google Sigalawada Sutta, and you find inside there a lot of good advice the Buddha gave to husband and wife, that they have a duty. And I always like to bring this. One of the duty of husband towards wife is, at the right time, buy them good ornament. Means, the Buddha understands the psychology of women. They like to be beautiful. They like to look pretty. So the Buddha says, part of the duty of man at the right time will give the loving wife some ornaments. In today's context, could be nice clothing, whatever accessories, and the pao and whatever other thing lah. Okay, anyway, I'm not here to talk about the other duties. So, the following should be looked upon as the six quarters, the six directions. The parents should be looked upon at the east, teachers at the south, wife and children at the west, I have mentioned just now, friends and associates as the north. So when you pray, say, Sigala, when you pray to the north, think about your friends and all those people you associate with. And then, of course, the employee as a nadir. And then the Brahmans, the holy people, the religious people as the Zeniths. Why again Zenith? Because they're supposed to take you to heaven. Okay? Nadir, we always say, 我的下属. my subordinates. That's why they are called Nadir. So that's the logic why he put the 6 direction that way. Yeah? So I'm going to go to the part about the north, which is friends. So far, are you with me? So this is a story of the Sigalawada, very interesting. The Buddha did not run down on a young boy and say, you're stupid, why you pray to 6 direction? The Buddha says, very good, let me explain to you each of the direction. Today, I will only take one direction. Now, before we go to the different types of friends, the Buddha has clearly says the problem and results of bad company. First thing first, the Buddha always begin, avoid evil. That's his teaching. Before you can even talk about making friends and interacting with people, avoid the evil one, the bad one. And he wants you to take a good look at who are the evil one and the bad one. Friends who only associate or encourage that which is advantageous to them. These are the people who are like friend to you, but they always do things for their own advantage one. And these are the people, the Buddha says, try to avoid. If you see you got friends who is like this, avoid associating with them. Remember? Not to associate, associate with the wise, not to associate with the foolish. These are the foolish ones. The Buddha says, first thing first, get it clear. Avoid all these people first before you talk about developing something else. Now, these are the people who sleep till sunrise. Sunrise. That means they will sleep very late, they will wake up very late. They don't sleep when the sun rises, they sleep till sunrise. When the sun rises, they're still sleeping. Okay? And we get a lot of people who are like that. Now, the Buddha is trying to say, avoid people who are not industrious. Avoid people who are not hardworking. Who never put in effort in life. They just 生活颠倒. Their life is in a topsy-turvy. What is night become day, what is day become night. Avoid people like that. Number 2, avoid people that do misconduct, who will take you to all these places. Says, those are the people, never treat them as friend. Okay? 3, quick temper. That's a very difficult English word, irascibility, quick temper. People, Chinese we say 肝火很大，火气很大的. Yeah, some people you deal with them a little bit get irritated and want to quarrel with you. Very quarrelsome, troublesome people. Avoid them. Next one, malevolence. People who have a lot of ill will. People who have a lot of bad intention. Always want to do something bad to somebody and even to you. Then the Buddha also says, avoid people who are bad company, who has a bad influence. People who influence you to do things which is not right, which is not proper, which is not good for you and your family and everything else. And of course, avarice. Avoid people who has a lot of greed. He just join you interested to be with you because he knows there's something in you that he can get from. Some people are like that. When you have something, they're always close to you. When you got nothing, they go away. These are the people the Buddha says, first thing first, 看清楚, look at it clearly. If any of these appear in the people that you interact, avoid them. Why? Because in the Parava Sutta, another sutta the Buddha gave about downfall, cause of downfall, the Buddha says, anybody being fond of sleep, form of company means partying all the time happy time indolence, lazy and irritable, this is the cause of one downfall. So it's quite mirroring what the Buddha says in Sigalawada Sutta. He says, these are the people, try to avoid them. First thing first, avoidance. The Buddha always begin his teaching by avoidance. These are what you should avoid. Then he says, this is what you should do more. That's why his teaching is called avoid evil, do good. It starts with avoid evil first. So these are a group of people the Buddha says, go far. If you see them, don't be... Sometimes you got no choice because they are your colleague. Sometimes you got no choice because your business associate, you have to deal with him. but you deal with him professionally at the work level, that's all. Beyond that, don't spend extra time, don't put in a lot of effort in being with them if they are involved in any of these activities. Sometimes you got no choice. Your colleague happen to be like that. Your boss happen to be like that. Your business associate happens to be like that. You got no choice. So you deal with them professionally where it should. Beyond that, he asks you, hey, come and join me. They say, okay, never mind, thank you very much. You may have to do that to avoid evil. Now, if you are not careful, you mix with that group of people that we talked about just now. Given to bad ways, the Buddha says this can ruin the present and the future. It ruins what you have now. It will ruin what you have in the future. You will have in the future. It will basically ruin these two. What? If you mix with them too frequently, over a period of time, your name declines like a waning half moon. You know the moon? Our life should be from new moon to full moon. Our life should not be like full moon to the waxing moon. Is it waxing moon or waning moon? Whatever you call that. That means the moon gets smaller and smaller and smaller and disappear. So the Buddha used analogy that, your life, if you mix with these people, is like a full moon, suddenly become dim, 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 and disappear. You should not be like that. So your name will be like that. Fortune sinks into depths quickly and brings swift disrepute to the family. Whatever you have will be gone very soon. Let me tell you a story. In the 80s and 90s, I was a little bit involved with the music industry because I wrote songs for recording artists at the time. So there used to be a recording company in Cheras where I frequently go and meet up with the people there. And this story, I think I shared with some of you also before. There was this man who is actually like a store manager. Those days, when they produce music, they got this cassette tapes, no CD at that time. During my 1980s, no CD, got cassettes. Of course, they got this record, So he keeps stocks of all the new album and old album stocks in the store. But he's a bachelor. For the last 30 years he was working, he saved quite a bit of money. 赚是王老虎 It's really, Chinese we say, 赚是王老虎. He's really rich. So when he retired, he doesn't have many friends. This is where very careful. People who are about to retire, be careful. What kind of friends you have? Because by then you will be quite loaded, some of you, because your EPF could have a few 100,000 to millions and above millions. Some of you do not know what to do after your retirement. In fact, a lot of people don't think about the post-retirement. In fact, that should be a phase that you have to start thinking, what are you going to do before you retire and after you retire? But anyway, he retired. He has a lot of money. He's single. He's bachelor. He got no immediate family and whatever it is. Unfortunately, he has some of the friends because it's a music scene. You get all kinds of people. So he has some of these people who will go to the pubs and all the karaokes and drinks. So you got all these people here, this category. All these category people. So after his retirement, he don't have to work. He stay at home. After a while, get bored. So he start to call some of his friends. Some of his friends also say, hey, you come and join me. Tonight we are going to this pub. Come have happy time. So he went. And to cut the story short, he went there quite frequently with them because he wanted to pass time. So the worst thing about retirement is passing time. So that's what he did. He was trying to pass his time. That's why it's good you are involved in KMBS. When you retire, do more work here, than spend time elsewhere. So he didn't know what to do with his time. Really, those people who retired. That's why some of them got into depression after retirement because they do not know what to do. And they start to question themselves, their life and things like that. So he went a lot with them and went to karaoke, and he happened to get to know one or two China doll. Those China doll and things like that. So he thought because he has not fell in love in his life because he was a bachelor all through his life. So suddenly you get so much attention from a girl. To him, it's like, wow, 迟来的春天. Chinese we say. the spring come very lately. So to him, he said, wow, every day got, cycle. So he said, wow, even though that's 60 years old, already still cycle. So he gets a little bit excited about that. So, of course, after some time, slowly, little by little, whatever he earned and he saved all through these years of hard work, all taken up, used by the mania and whatever it is. And he became broke. This is a real story, yeah? He became broke, and when he eventually fell sick and went to hospital, he has no money to pay because he didn't buy any policy at that time, the insurance medical policy or whatever. So and luckily there was this man by the name of Huat. He's a managing director of PMP, the music company, which most of the Korean movies are imported by him, and he licensed. And so he was last time his colleague at that time, and he was kind enough to basically fund some of his medical fee. And when he passed away, nobody come and claim his body. And this good friend, Ahok, which is the managing director of this PMP, basically helped him to do the last rites and everything. Very pitiful. So when you mix with the wrong company, in fact, when he retired with all the money he has, he's like a full moon. In fact, his life is rich. But unfortunately, he mixed with the wrong company. He's like this, decline like a waning half moon. And his fortune just sink into depths. So every phase of our life, we need to be careful of who we meet and who we deal with. I always say, 一个人的幸福不是今天明天，是当你呼吸最后一口气。When you breathe your last breath and die, and you die nicely, then you can say your life is complete and things, and you are really happy person. Until the last breath, we can't say we homia or paimia, because it looks like he's homia, retired with so much money, but till his last breath, it was not homia. Okay, so, but it means every phase of our life, we have to be careful who we deal with, because they can either bring you up or bring you down. Not fit to lead. People who are involved in this category of people, after a while, if you long with them, you find that you are not fit to lead and to have a good family life. So if you find that your future son-in-law or somebody happen to do a lot of this, you also worry for your daughter, whether he's fit to lead a family life or not. You found out that actually your future son-in-law is a frequent gambler in Genting. You better be careful also, because that's not. I've heard so many stories of people gamble and just gamble away their money. Yeah? So they're not fit to lead a family, and most of the time, those who depended on him, especially if he's a man, depend on him, will live a very terrible life. I used to stay in my old house, my previous house there. In front of my house, there was this man, this young couple. At the time, they were quite young. They married not maybe less than 10 years. And of course, the man or the lady's husband opened a DVD shop somewhere in Puchong here. So that time DVD, we don't have all these download things. DVD must go and buy. So business is so good, so he have a lot of money, and every 2 years he change his car. One after another. Sometimes not even finished, they already upgrade his car. So he bought a corner house, and he spent so much money renovating the house. Then, at some point in time, he got into deep gambling. That time, I think, got World Cup or whatever it is, so they also gamble at the same time. And he landed into some financial difficulties, and I think the Along was chasing after him and things like that. So the new house he renovated, but before he can move in, he got into this trouble. And to cut the story short, he did manage to move in. At one time, he was talking about sending his kids to international school. Then later we found out that he didn't send his kid to international school, and he gave excuses. The kid don't want to go to that school, therefore he doesn't send them there. So he gave all kinds of excuses. But we know things were not right for him, And eventually, he has to sell off the house, don't know where he ran to, and that's it. So sometimes when you mix with the wrong company again, you get into this difficulty of managing your family. And this is especially true for men. Of course, some women also have to basically uphold the family. Now, if you are mixing with all these people, the Buddha says, sometimes you're not careful, good opportunities will give them a miss. Opportunity comes, but because you mix with the wrong company, you miss the chance. So these are the consequences if you are meeting with the wrong people in your day-to-day interaction. Okay? Now, good friends and bad friends. Now the Buddha trying to explain to you, who are the good friends? You take a look when I explain that, just reflect on your own life. Who comes into your picture? Any special people come to the picture. Yeah? If any one of you want to share some story, you can share after my sessions. You can say, I got something to share. That's fine. Now, these are the 4 bad friends. The Buddha says, avoid them. They can be a cheater, they can be a flatterer, they can be a distrust friend, they can be a destroyer. 4 types. Let's look at the first one. It's called a cheater. There are people that you interact with day to day. They are always thinking about appropriating his friends well. They are thinking of how to take advantage of you. Whatever you have, they want to. Orang Melayu cakap kau kekayaan. So he always want to take advantage. People like that, they give little and ask much. These are the people sometimes they say, hey, last time I buy you a lunch, Today I ask you buy lunch, cannot. Actually, the last time he buy lunch only, nasi lemak only. Now he expect you to buy a big restaurant, Sometimes, some people are like that. They give little, they ask a lot. All right? He does his duty out of fear. This one normally you see some of the movies. This is we call 小人. They have a lot of advantage. They want to take advantage. And sometimes they do it not because they're willing to do it because you are his friend. They do it out of fear. Maybe this is a taiko, somebody down there. He wants to get some advantage from him. So whatever he wants him to do, he will do it. He will do it out of fear, not because he is willing. And he associates for his own advantage. So any one of them, if you interact with, you find that they want to take advantage of you, please remember, they may not be your friend. That's the same for relatives. Today, some relatives, some siblings also are like that. So sometimes that's why I say, own family members is not as good as friends. And friends can be better than relatives sometimes because of that. Because some of the siblings in family, sometimes they behave, they're not even your friend. They just want to take everything they can from you. Some of business associates also like that. Now, second one is called the flatterer. This one, you got people who approve of his friend evil deed, disapprove of his friend's good deed. So when you tell your friend, I'm going to KMBS this Sunday, then you got your friend say, Ayah, you so stupid. Why you want to be so square one? Go to temple. Sunday is a rest time. Why don't you go with me? I got some interesting people that I can, bring you to meet. Ayah, I tell you, all this sweet one, please come along lah, Ayah, why you waste your time, Ayah, They will tell you, why you want to waste your time? You want to do good things, they discourage you. You want to go temple meditate lah? You siao one lah. Only mad people go and meditate, So they will disapprove your good deeds, and they will approve whatever evil deeds. Sometimes you do wrong thing, they say, don't worry one nang cho tapo lang meng kia one. But real thing happen, they run away one. They will tell you things like that. We all man, don't worry. So sometimes they do things like that. You better be careful. This, the Buddha says, are not good friends. They are flatterer. They praise him in his presence and speak ill of him in his absence. This one in office, a lot. Sometimes you think you can trust your colleague. While in front of you, he zhou hei, at the back, you go and talk other things to your other friends or to the bosses. And then for all you know, suddenly you realize, oh, one knife just poked into your heart and things like that. I mean, you got people like that. So the Buddha says, the moment you see people like that, 眼睛放大一点，看清楚, this may not be a friend. But you may not have a choice. You may have to deal with them every day. Deal with them professionally at work. Nothing beyond that. Yeah? It will be silly to treat them as friend. Just treat them as another colleague that you have to deal with. Maybe difficult colleague, but you still have to deal with them. All right? So that's a flatter. So far? Okay? Anybody come into your picture? God, somebody say, I see. Yeah. Okay, the next one is called the distrust. These are people that you should not trust them. Makes friendly profession expression as regard to the past, makes friendly profession as regard to the future. What does it mean? Profess. What do you mean by profess? A professor. Profess means talk about it lah. Yeah? So he can make friendly expression about the past and about the future. He says, oh, especially the future one. He says, don't worry lah, anything happen, I will pow for you one. Don't worry, I will take care of you. Brother, we're brother, man, I'll take care of you. He professed for the future. And then, what happened? When opportunity give for service, express inability. When the time you really need him, you say, sorry lah brother, I cannot lah, this one you take care lah, chiki pojong lah. So sometimes you got people like that, they'll profess about future, they'll talk good about you, about your past, about their past, and they'll talk about the future, but when the time comes, you really need them, they are not there. These are people who gives you lip service only. 嘴巴会讲，做不到。These are people, the Buddha says, you cannot trust. So if you interact with some people who are like that, immediately you put them into this category already. And if it happens all the time, you cannot 2-3 times, you better say confirm case. So after a few times you cannot like that, don't be silly, still think, no lah, I think he is, no. So some very kind-hearted people, they are blinded by their kindness. They cannot see. 你太好心了. This one is just like the singer who sing the song. 你的心太软. Your heart is too soft. So everything, some people rude wrong things to you, you also say, okay lah, it's not like that. But the Buddha says, no, these are people you must be very clear. They try to gain favor by empty words. Cakap saja. Cakap tak serupa bikin. He can promise you the sky, but never being able to even jump one foot higher than where he is. So these are people who are like that. Be careful. And the fourth one is called destroyer. Now, these are people, the Buddha says, not your friend. They will destroy your life. Avoid them and run away from them as much as you can. Companion intoxicants. It could be drinking kaki, could be drugs. When drinking kaki, these are heavy drinkers. They really, in fact, many of them who are heavy drinkers, they spend a lot of money, wasted a lot of money. Not only that, they land themselves in very awful situation. They sometimes even get into fights. They get into even killing and things like that. So even in the Buddhist time, they have already. Drinking is an age-old problem. 2,000, 3,000, 400,000 years ago, also got this problem, and it's still today, it's still prevailing. The Buddha says about them. In today's, it could be drugs. Drugs can basically destroy the entire family. Companion sauntering at unseemly hours means try to avoid people who would tell you the night is still young. And frequently, not just occasionally, we also come back late, but these are frequent, and they got no purpose one. They just want to spend the night and loitering around, moving around. And to them, these are what you call that kutu malam. They will 2, 3 o'clock. They're still active one, and these are the people who will sleep early in the morning until 10, 11 o'clock one, because their life becomes upside down. Chinese we say 生活颠倒. So avoid these people, because these people not going to be successful in life one. You check with all the successful people in the world, not to talk about spiritual side, but even worldly side. They all are disciplined. They all have certain way of life that they live. They don't do things like that. If they do, they get into trouble. Okay? So, companion to frequenting entertainment. They spend a lot of time going and see, where's the latest show? Where's the latest dance? Where's the latest whatever? Where's whatever it is, all those entertainment. In today's context, people who indulge too much into the social media, spend hours looking at YouTube and Facebook, and then a lot of work undone. You're not going to be successful. If you want to be successful, you have to have that discipline not to be too much into that. The Buddha didn't say no, but he says frequenting. And to mix with people who spend all the time. I've seen a lot of people spend so much time in social media. Every single thing they go ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. And sometimes one conversation they get into heated agreement, ding dong for hours, wasting your time. Right? These are people who's not going to bring you far. So when you go into social media, be careful. There are plenty of those people in the social media that carries greed, hatred, and delusion with them. And when they, you read and oh, this guy, a lot of hatred, man. This guy, damn stupid one. This guy, he's trying to take advantage of people already. There are plenty of them in the social media. But anyway, companion to indulge in gambling. So all this group of people, if you are associating with them, try not to be too deep and close with them, because they are the destroyer. The Buddha says, this group of people, never treat them as friend. If you need to, just deal with them at the superficial level, as the job need, as the interaction need. Beyond that, don't go deep. Don't spend a lot of hours and time with them. Okay? So far, okay? Got people in your mind? I hope you are not one of these 4. I hope you are not. Choose your companion with care. Again, I just try to, in Aguttara Nikaya, the Buddha says, avoid people who indulge in sex, drink, gambling, having evil people as friends, associates, and companions. This group of people, the Buddha says, avoid them. So when you want to choose a friend, check a little bit about their background. I do that from time to time. When I meet a new person in my business or in my dealing, I sometimes go into the Facebook to see what they are doing. I sometimes go to the LinkedIn, a few others, to know what they're doing. Sometimes you type in your Google, you just type his name, it may come out some things. They will give you a background of who he is and things like that. That's important for a background check, so that you know who you're dealing with. You know what kind of person, what kind of life he prefer, what kind of friends he has around him, so that you don't get into unnecessary problems. And especially if your stake is high in business or whatever it is, be more careful. All right? Sometimes people, due to their foolishness, they overexpose themselves in Facebook also. You better be careful. Yeah? Now, these are the friends that the Buddha says, if you have found one, better grab hold of them and don't let them go. These are people you should not let them go, because they are good friends. Who are they? There are 4 types. One is called a helper, the other one is a counsel, the one trust, the other one is healer. Let's look at the helper. The helper is the one who helps you. They guard the heedless. When you get heedless, when you are no more thinking properly, when you are not, well, I shouldn't say saint, when you are not thinking rightly, you become heedless. He's the one who protects you, who guards you. He'll tell you, hey, please don't say things like that when you are angry. He will tell you. Yeah? You do that, then no good. Your wife will not be happy, or your father may not be happy, or your somebody may not. So he guard the heedless. He protect wealth of the heedless. Sometimes he sees you are in trouble and people are going to take advantage of you. He will try his best to help to protect your wealth. He says, this one, you better make sure you don't sign that document. You do that, you get in trouble. After that, the whole thing will go to the other side. Then you got nothing. So sometimes he gives advice like that. He tells you, this one, you better be careful of the terms, and I don't think it is to your advantage. I have a friend who is a lawyer. You go and check whether this is correct or not correct, whether he has anything hidden down there or not. He will help to protect your wealth. He will become a refuge when you are in danger. So when you are in trouble, he will tell you, come to me, no worry, I'll help you. Come to me, I'll find a way how to solve your problem. These are the people who are your refuge. Yeah? So if you find somebody in your life you have seen like that, you know he's your true friend. Don't let them go. And don't disappoint them also. Because friends are still human beings. They got feeling. Yeah? So sometimes they give so much to you, give the best to you, and you don't know how to treat them well. You lose them. Yeah? So sometimes good friends also can feel betrayed. So make sure you don't do things like that. Yeah? Get hold of them, catch hold of them, and appreciate them. Yeah? And in commitment, supply double than needless. You say, I'm a little bit tight, I need 10,000. Say, no, don't worry. You want 20,000, I can give you. Of course, provided you got money. So he will say, no. He says, can I need a place to stay for 2-3 days. This thing is really disturbing me. No. You can stay as long as you want until things are better. These are people who will give you more than what you ask for. These are your true friends. Yeah? So sometimes you got people like that. I know it's not common, it's rare. But when you see one, I'm sure in your life you may have encountered, these are your true friends. The Buddha says, these are your helpers. These are your 贵人. Yeah? So you must be very clear to know your 贵人, because sometimes in our life, 贵人, this one Yi Jing talk about 贵人, when they come to your life, if you are not smart enough, you don't notice them, they walk away. You lost opportunities. So you also must, 你的眼睛要擦亮, so that you can know when there's a 贵人 come, is the help come, you realize it's a help. You don't look at that and other things, You must know how to capitalize and make full use of that opportunity. Yeah? People are like that. So these are the helpers. I'm sure some of you may have friends who are like that. Please appreciate them. Next one. Counsel. Good friends that you have, they do good counseling. They restrain one from doing evil, encourage one to do good. It's same Buddha's teaching, avoid evil. They'll tell you, this one, 不要这样子做啦，不好看. They will tell you, 我们做人不要这样子. 我哋做人唔可以咁樣，唔好睇. They will tell you this. These are good counselors. They encourage you to do good. Why don't you do this? Do this. Very, sweet, like that you do. Everybody will be happy. It's a win-win. They will tell you what to do. Inform one of what is unknown to oneself. Sometimes you do not know certain things. He will tell you, there's another way to do this, Let me tell you, you don't have to do this nor that. There's another option here. Have you ever thought about that? So he gives you different options to tell you things that you don't know. These are your good friends. Yeah? They share with you. They are not kedekut to share new things, different things with you. Whereas a not good friend, they know sometimes they hold back. And they use that to take advantage of you. Yeah? These are not good friends. Good friends, they without terms and conditions, sometimes says, I don't mind to share with you this one. This, I think you take it like, I've been using that for a long time, but I think you can take it and become whatever you want to use with it. Sometimes they share things. Yeah? And they point out the path to heaven. They will show you, this is the way to be happy. This is the way to be successful. These are the counsel friends. Do you have one? Do you have? Hold tight, like a leech, to the lake. Don't let go. That's not a good analogy. But anyway, you get my point. Don't let them go, slip away from you. Those are the counsel friend. Third one, review his secrets. These are friends. This one very careful. When someone tell you about their life, their family, their secret relationship, or whatever it is, their dark secret, whatever secret that they have. So when they reveal that to you, it's because they trust you. So when a person gives that trust to you, technically he's a good friend. It will be terrible for you to misplace his trust. So when you share something, let's say I share to Brother Katak my dark secret. Brother Katak, this is my dark secret. Don't tell my wife. I'm just telling to you only. We are men, okay? Let me tell you. So Brother Katak heard my story. Oh, very interesting. Go back and go to KMBS, can tell a few more people here. Then I found out later, oh gosh, then immediately I know, I cannot trust you anymore. You're not my good friend. A good friend, when people reveal the secret, he will conceal whatever secret that he gets. That's what he needs to do. Okay? So when people share with you their deeper side of their life and their feeling, it's important for you to keep. And you can do that. You are a good friend. That's why some people will always avoid, hey, don't tell him, You tell him, he got many mouths on. He can go around and tell many people. That's not good. So sometimes some people are unintentional. They just have this habit. Maybe developed when they were young. Nobody corrected them. So have this habit. So, but then again, you have to be very careful because these people cannot keep secret one. You better be a little bit more. That's why some people can be your very good friend because you go to him, you tell him everything. Not a single word will get out of his mouth to somebody else. These are your trusted friend. So if you have found somebody, it will be very good. Now the last one, hang on, a few more. In misfortune, does not forsake, even sacrifice his life for one's sake. Very rare to get friends like that. But there are. There may be people who would sacrifice their life or their everything for you. And after the whole ordeal is over, he is really your 100% trusted friend. Do you have one? First thing first, you have to ask yourself, when you got problems and issues, do you have people that you can talk to and they can keep that as a secret? If you have already a good friend. So you must know how to keep that good friend. Don't lose it. Yeah? Some of us, when you got a problem, we don't know who to talk to because everybody seems cannot be trusted. And then they have a problem, they cannot get people who can counsel them. And not to mention help them. So that's why they are lost. Because in their life, they don't have good friends. Last one. Healer. Now, this is a friend, the Buddha say, he does not rejoice in one's misfortune. He's not that kind of friend. When you go into trouble, tai sei lah. That one is not a good friend. In the good old days when the children say, very good. I remember kids do that last time. They're not, they get into trouble and they would just do that. A good friend would not do that. He would not rejoice in your misfortune. Even, some people, they are not really in good terms, but when somebody is going through some difficult time, they do not forsake them. And that's where, you begin to see who is a true friend. Sometimes we don't get along with each other because of different views. Not that we hate each other, it's just that we have different views. But sometimes you find some of these people, even though they have different views from you, when you're in trouble, they never forsake you. They never rejoice in your misfortune. These are your good friends. So the difficult people in your life may not be your enemy, Sometimes we think that people are very difficult to us, they are our enemy. No, it's just that they have different views. But when you are in trouble, you find that they still come forward and help you and do not rejoice in your misfortune. These are your real friends. And you can see that sometimes in office, There are such people. When it comes to work, they have different views with you because they see things differently from you. And perhaps due to communication issue, both of you cannot communicate to each other well. You don't see eye to eye over certain issues. But they are not bad people. And when you go through difficulty in life, you find that they don't rejoice. In fact, they will come for you and say, look, Huat Chye, I know we are not best of friends, but I know you are going through this. Is there anything I can do for you? You may get people like that. They do not rejoice in your misfortune and they come forward. If you see one, please hug them. This is your real friend, even though you have differences. Yeah? They rejoice in one's prosperity. So when you are successful, you get promoted, you get a business deal, they don't get jealous. They rejoice. Maybe you work harder. Maybe you try differently. Both of us bid the same business. I didn't get. Maybe his pricing is better. Maybe he offer a few more things which we cannot do. That's why he get a deal. Don't feel jealous about that. You rejoice in people's prosperity. So if you got people, when you get promoted, they don't get jealous at the workplace, and then in fact they're happy for you. They will say things like you deserve it. Yeah. Then all right. Restrain others speaking ill of oneself. And when people talk bad about you, he'll be the one who says, hey, you cannot say like that now. It's not fair to him. These are your real friends. Praises those who speak well of oneself. So sometimes people talk good about the person. The person says, yeah, you say the right thing. In fact, Brother Katak is a good person, So he will reinforce that. Bad one, he will stop. Good one, he will reinforce. All right, so these are the 4 good friends. You clear now? If not clear, go and Google Sigalovada Sutta. Get the whole sutta beautifully given by the Buddha to laymen like you and me. Yeah? In fact, I always take this as my point of reference when I deal with people at work and outside, especially strangers, new people. I always do this as a filter. And how do you know? Sit down with them for half an hour, have a good conversation. You roughly can guess where they are coming from. Yeah? I do that all the time. So when I meet somebody, it could be associates, business associates, or any corporate people, you sit down, half an hour, have a good conversation. You can roughly know where they're coming from. Okay, I want to skip this, and thank you. Question and answer time. Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, any question that you have for Brother Huat Chye? Or any sharing?
Okay, the one is spoken by Arahan Upatissa. That's meant for spiritual, those who are on the path towards enlightenment. So for them, their spiritual friends are those who understand the Tripitaka. For lay people like us, we can dilute that interpretation as someone who understands, the law of karma, how to become a better person, the Dhamma itself. People who understand Dhamma and who can teach you a thing or two, I think they should be your good friend. Of course, the one is meant for Arahants and those who cultivate one. They must know the Tripitaka. They must know the Buddha's teaching deeply. That's different. So if they understand the Tripitaka deeply, they can be a guide to the rest. So they are your good friends. Yeah? So don't confuse. The one is meant for the monks, meant for practicing people. The Buddha says the spiritual friends are those who know the Tripitaka. In our context, if you have Dhamma, you can share your Dhamma with your friends and colleagues. You are a good friend to your friends. Okay? So whatever you have learned from KMBS, from any other talks and any other courses you go to, and now you help your friends to understand certain things, you are a good friend in that context. Yeah?
Anyone else? If not, then we have now come to the end of our Dhamma sharing. We would like to thank Brother Huat Chye for giving such a delightful Dhamma sharing with us. With the merits we gained today, may Brother Huat Chye be happy and healthy. May you cultivate more peace, joy, and happiness with your family members. May all devas, all beings, and all spirits share and rejoice in these merits that we have acquired. May this lead to the attainment of success and the fulfillment of blessing. May our departed relatives share this merit. May they be happy. By the merits we have acquired, may we never follow the foolish, but instead associate with the wise until Nibbana is attained. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I would like to invite Sister Su Chen to present a small memento to Brother Huat Chye.
KMBS new t-shirt.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Please, brothers and sisters, please be in a kneeling position to pay our respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Buddhang vandami bante, Dhammang vandami bante, Sanghang vandami bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, everyone, and have a safe trip back. And Happy Chinese New Year.
Announcement of Chinese New Year program.
This one actually forgot to change. This one is the present of Venerable Bodhi.
New Year going up, not.
No, this time around, we don't go back.
Your sister come back?
My sister? She just came back.